Hey guys, Joshy here. Another episode of BJ and Game Day live on YouTube stream. I've got Bogan with me. It's just Bogan and Joshy tonight. No Brent. Unfortunately, family duties have taken charge. Apologies about the camera footage at the moment. New phone and the camera is pretty average.
So Josh finally goes out and buys a new piece of tech. And
yeah,
it's
and
one that makes the show look worse.
Pretty much, mate. I'm all for the people. I'm all for the viewers, the entertainment value, mate. It's sort of like beer goggles, really. Like I'm not the best looking lad, so hopefully this makes the boys' squinty eyes a little bit more, and I look a little bit better. But mate, first up, the guys will see me. I'm in the kitchen here. The man challenge. I got nominated a few days ago by one of my best mates, Luke Barber. So I've jumped on into the kitchen here. I've got my egg. I've got my tablespoon of sugar. I've got my Stolly vodka. Now, just to prove it's not water, I can pour it again if you want. But and then I've got a Corona to throw down afterwards in lieu of the coronavirus. Now, mate, one thing I will point out, though, I am a wild turkey drinker. I am not a beer drinker whatsoever. I am soft. Call me what you will. I definitely do not like drinking a beer, but I reckon after these other three, it'll probably taste good first. So we're going to take the headphones off for a sec, guys. We're going to down this in a few seconds, and then we will relocate from the kitchen. Give me 2 seconds, guys.
I will say we've
down.
got a fair few new subscribers this year, so there might be some people watching that haven't had the joys of seeing you and Brent
Very true.
complete a challenge. And may I just say that this has the potential to get quite hilarious quite quickly. There was a challenge last year where Josh had to drink, I think it was half a dozen eggs.
Yes.
Was it that sink right there that you were nearly thrown up into, Josh?
Mate, it was that sink. It was that sink. It was pretty bad. So, the challenges, guys, if you are new to the channel, see a few videos from previous seasons. You will see some funny stuff there with, full spoons of Vegemite. We had the hot chip challenge, which was the hottest chips on earth. That was quite funny.
The Vegemite.
We had the eggs. We've had the cat food, which I failed miserably at. It seems to be I was the loser at a lot of these challenges, so definitely a stitch up from Brent. But mate, he just simply knows his footy better than I do. So very educated man, and he could avoid these challenges. Me, not so much. I am a glutton for punishment, and mate, we're good to go with this one.
Yep. Is there anyone you're nominating for the man challenge?
Look, there is, and naturally, being that he's not here on screen tonight, I will nominate Brent Hampton with the view that he jumps on board next week when we do our video and does it then. I think I've seen it going around on Facebook, 24 hours or $200 donation to Beyond Blue. Now, obviously, Beyond Blue does some great things across Australia. Me, it's taken a little bit longer than the 24 hours, but purely so I could get it on this stream rather than put it on Facebook to my 20 friends. But yeah, I'm going to nominate Brent Hampton.
For next week's Team List Tuesday, I'm guessing.
For next week's Team List Tuesday, yep. I will also nominate everyone watching this stream. So I think we've probably got about 12 or 15 guys at the moment. No doubt it's Shane Foote. No doubt it's Teddy Woods. No doubt Kane Ando's watching. So anyone else, chuck your name up in the comments if you do want to do this challenge.
I think for Big Ted, that's just breakfast anyway, mate.
Well, it probably is. This is small stuff for Big Ted. But if you can, put the video together, chuck it on your own Facebook page, nominate some people you know. But if you can send us in the videos, we will put them all together in the BJ and Game Day video next week. So it is one raw egg. It is a tablespoon of sugar. It is a shot of your selected spirit. And it's down a whole beer. So, guys, jump on board. Otherwise, spread the word Beyond Blue. Obviously, it's all to do with men's mental health and how we all sort of survive. We're going to go into that a little bit more in the show as well. We've done another stupid thing during the week, and that was bought a Greyhound that we're going to have the next NADS. We're going to try and fill this slot either Tuesday or Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock. I wouldn't say it's the BJ and Game Day team that's gone out and bought it, but myself, mate, I've gone out. I've bought a race dog that'll be up here from Victoria very shortly. It's called Peas and Carrots. It's
Okay.
called Peas and Carrots. So we will start watching it race around Brisbane in the next couple of weeks,
Mate,
and
as long
hopefully,
as it's not peas of shit. Like,
yeah, pending copyright, we might get a few videos on here and get a few interviews at the track. We're going to try and improve the content, I guess, of the show this season. But enough said. Enough said. I'm going to get on with this challenge. Wasted enough time. I'm putting it off by talking more.
all right.
Give me 2 seconds, boys.
All right, first he's gone with the egg. They seem to do that pretty easy. Oh, or not. Now with the sugar. And washing it down with the vodka. We can't hear you, mate. Like, but anyway, and now with the Corona. Corona chant straight down the hatch. Oh,
yeah.
mate, next time we got to get you to fight. We needed sound for that. So you're going to have to do that again, but with sound.
Oh, hang on. We're not doing it again.
Yeah, no, mate, we had no sound. I had to commentate. So you're going to have to do that again.
That
with
was
the mic
bad.
set up.
That was shit house. Far out.
That's nice effort. You fucking hoed through the egg this time. You could barely get
one
it.
egg, not 6 of them.
You could barely get it to your lips last time.
Mate, I couldn't do 6. I dead set couldn't do 6. No way in the world. Actually, the sugar was probably the hardest part, purely from the volume it creates in your mouth.
Really?
And, yeah, well, because you've just downed the egg, and it's not much fun. And then the next thing, you got a gob full of sugar you're trying to chew down. The vodka sort of washes it down. That wasn't too bad. And, yeah, the Corona went all right, actually. All right, mate, I'm just going to relocate. We're going to jump out the front on the porch.
Just let me turn your camera off, and I'll let you know when you
Yeah, we don't. Guys, I don't want to take you through me. Actually, the house isn't much.
Don't dox yourself.
Don't what?
Don't dox yourself.
The kids are all right. They're in bed.
Transition. There you go. You're off now. We're with
right.
our.
So we got sound.
Yeah, we've still got sound.
All right, boys. So, guys, on tonight's show, I'm going to be sitting out on the front porch. We're going to go for a little bit of a rant. We've.
I promised a big fucking rant. What did I message you before this? Fire up, bitch! Fire up!
It's not so much a big rant because we've got a new Liam Knight basically. We've got a new Liam Knight. So, I mean, we know that that the tendencies.
I thought it was going to be English that you were ranting about.
Nah, mate, he can come back and play footy if he wants to.
Okay.
Right.
Even if the Rabbitohs get a sweet salary cap deal based on an injury.
Honestly, mate, I couldn't care less. I just want to see the footy back again.
So I thought it was either going to be English or fucking
the terrible, isn't it?
The betting scandal.
The what scandal?
The betting scandal. They've raided a few houses because someone tipped off some punters that Bellamy was going to win Coach of the Year at the fucking.
Oh, right. I haven't heard that one yet.
The cops
check the video back up, mate.
The cops have raided a few houses. But
yeah,
instead of these two fairly decently sized news items,
yeah,
your rant is going to be about a new Liam Knight.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's all I've got is a new Liam Knight.
Okay. That's fucking anticlimactic, though. But
we can find things to rant about if you like, mate. But it's just
because I was thinking, no, I don't want to fucking spoil it by asking. I want to see what Josh is.
See, I don't have the Bogan level of rant. I don't sweat the big things. I look at the little things, So we'll start with the rant first up. And I've been talking to Shane Foote actually online about this, one of the boys on Facebook. So shout out to Shane. He's got a good Supercoach this team, really, really strong, almost as good as mine. he's basically there's a new bloke that people are getting into their teams, and season's gone by. He's been absolutely shithouse, and that is Ben Hampton. Not Brent Hampton, Ben Hampton.
Always think
North
of Brent
Queensland
Hampton.
Cowboys.
Always think of Brent Hampton whenever I see B Hampton. I think I even made the joke. You just picture Breno sitting there on the bench up in North Queensland.
That's where this bloke should be. He should be on the bench. But, mate, I tell you what.
Is.
Yeah, he usually is. A lot of people talking about getting Ben Hampton in. Massive mistake. I'm going to... See, I feel like I want to rant, but I don't hate the guy as much as Liam Knight.
You hate him. You hate that. You hate him. You fucking hate him.
He's a terrible Supercoach player. Good footballer.
Probably a nice person as well.
Oh, probably a nice person. Probably a good bloke. You know, he's got a few good tattoos on the body. He's a good-looking fella. But, mate, he's a victim of versatility.
Well, do you fucking love him or hate him now? You're talking... Oh, he's got nice tattoos and a nice haircut. Probably someone you could take home and meet your mum.
Maybe. But we've got... mate, look, a lot of people on Facebook jumping on the Ben Hampton bandwagon. 247,000 in Supercoach. He's had a couple of good starts, 2 rounds to start the season. Obviously, when we kicked off 8-10 weeks ago, scored 49 points, 61 points, scored a try in each game. The last 3 years, his individual averages each season were 23, 26, and 37.
Yeah,
now, in the season, he averaged 37.
Adrian Gomes, not Gnomes.
That's Adrianosaurus Rex. Yeah. Go for it, mate.
I'm sure he's copped that before. Sorry about that, Adrian. 36 minus 36 break even versus Titans first up.
It doesn't matter.
He could be a money spinner though.
Let's go this, all right? I'll do the man challenge again the week after if he scores over 40 points.
Well, you heard it here, folks.
If he scores over 40 points against the Titans, I will go another man challenge. I'll have it all set up, and we'll do it again. So that's up for Adrian. Because, mate, he's no good. No, he's not no good, but in Supercoach, he's terrible. We've seen the likes of Mitchell Orbison. We've seen the likes of plenty of other guys who have basically been victims of their own versatility in Supercoach. So I just can't have him. I cannot have him. I know a lot of guys are jumping on because of the break even. Let's say there is cash there to be made. There's always that argument, how much is a trade worth? Now, this season is a little bit different, obviously, because we've reduced to 20 rounds. We've got the same amount of trades. There's not as much urgency on keeping trades, I guess. But with the averages that he's had, look, the season he averaged 37, he turned up once as well. Now, I know a lot of those games were from the bench, and at the moment he's got a starting spot. But the simple fact is, in that Cowboys back line, he's the first one to go. You know, like if anyone comes back from injury, if anyone starts to perform, you know, on the training paddock, obviously there's no Queensland Cup, everything like that's been cancelled, so it's a lot harder to get in that squad. But I just look, if he averages 40 for the season, he goes up $100,000, and I just don't think it's enough. I think there's a lot of other players that you can have in that. I will admit the one advantage to it is the fact that cheapies under 300,000 in the centre wings aren't really much good this season. But I'm speaking from a position where I've got 5 set and forget in my centre wings. I took the gamble there, and I've got Nofo, I've got Asako, which I think he'll gun it this year from fullback. I don't have Staggs at the moment. Still tossing up whether to get him in or not. I've got Blake Ferguson, I've got Maika Sivo, and Isaiah Yeo. So those 5 guys basically make up my core centre wingers. And, look, if you need someone in your starting 17 that's going to perform, look, fair enough. But to me, he's at best on the outside rung and hope he makes some cash, but I just don't think he will. So,
Well,
mate, not much of a rant, just
more a statement. Well, excuse me, but
you're the rant man, mate.
I know, but I don't have any footy shit to rant yet because, I laughed when I heard that South pulled a rort on the salary cap and picked up a couple of decent players. I think fucking Inglis will be shithouse in England.
Look, I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, I know I was talking to a couple of guys there at work today, and a few thoughts around, it's England, it's a lesser comp. You know, the fact is that
he doesn't give a fuck.
Look, he's just going over there. He's getting a cash payout.
Yeah, and to be able to say that he played in England, like, it's just one of those things to tick off the old fucking career list.
Yeah.
So, just in the chat, Shane Foote has said that, so if Ben Hampton does score the 40 this week, he will do the man challenge with you, except he will scull two beers at the end.
Good work, Shano. Thanks, buddy. Jump on board, mate. Yeah, we've been brothers there together in bagging the shit out of this bloke. So, mate, we could get egg on our faces, but we'll drink it instead. So we'll see how we go, mate.
Oh, now I'm hoping he scores a fucking double or something.
Oh, mate, he's just got to score 41 points, and we're doing the man challenge again. So that'll be enough. But talking about trades, mate, obviously we lent there towards. Have you had a look at yours yet?
I had a brief look because I had to offload. I wanted to save it. I wanted to do a montage. You didn't give me enough time. I didn't think we were doing a show. I was going to do a dramatic, sad montage for Lisa Armour. He's going to be out for 3 or 4 months with a fucking torn pec.
Mate, rest in peace to Lisa Armour. Yeah. We won't see him again this season, no doubt. Fingers crossed he can get back for the back end of the season, but there won't be any finals football because the Warriors aren't going to make it anyway. So
Lisa Armour and David Fafita.
Yep.
They're both
obviously Fafita a common one in most people's teams at the moment.
There goes 2 of my trades.
Yeah, gotcha, mate. Gotcha. Okay.
The other ones I'm waiting for Team List Tuesday just to see.
Yep.
Just to see who's playing.
Oh, mate, and naturally, obviously, a lot of people are jumping online and putting up that they've used all 5 trades. Me personally, I've only used 2 at this stage. Look, I'm really, really happy with my team, and like I said, probably before we got the season break, it's probably the highest been since I've started in Supercoach after 2 rounds, and I've finished in the top 1,000 a couple of times, and consistently in that top 2,000 or 3,000, and it's the first time I've probably been inside the top 40,000 after 2 rounds.
I didn't get the best.
I think I'm sitting about 8,000 or 9,000. So yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get the best results from the first 2 rounds for my team, but I was looking to back myself anyway. And
well, mate,
because
after the last season, really the only way's up for you, isn't it?
Well, not really. I can come last this time.
Well, mate, if Taylor starts listening to our advice and jumps on board, and Big Ted might get in her ear, I think Big Ted should reach out to Taylor on Twitter and just give her a little bit of a hand, mate. I'm sure she needs a bit of a hand with her team. So she's gone Latrell, she's gone a few other people that haven't performed. So. Yeah,
much like you, I sort of made the spine of my centres and wingers there, Ferguson and what's his fucking Sivo.
Yep.
Make a Sivo, yeah.
Yep.
And Parramatta didn't really put in the best performances in those first 2 rounds. That being said, I think Parramatta are going to be, and now they'll be shit, but I think Parramatta are going to be a powerhouse this season. I just think if they can get it to click, they've got it across the park.
I've always got some doubt behind Para. I'm not too sure why, but the fact is, like the first 2 weeks, they probably weren't at their best, and they still put 50 points or something on the Titans.
Yeah.
Obviously, it is the Titans, but those two guys in Maker Sevo and Ferguson, I think they scored probably 60 points. Sevo around about that, and Fergo was around that sort of 50 mark. There was a lot of near misses with them, so I think if a few of those things can stick.
Yeah.
The thing that goes against them, and a lot of people sort of had ideas with their opening draw and how easy the first 8 rounds were. We now see them sort of kick off the season against the Broncos, which will be a little bit of a tougher ask. The Broncos are going to have basically a full strength squad. I know that I think there's talk around Nathan Brown missing for the Eels, injured again. But, the Broncos are basically going to have that full strength squad except for David Fafita. So even though they do miss Fafita, you bring back the likes of Alex Glenn, who's solid enough. Obviously, he hasn't really figured, I guess, too much in Supercoach in the past. But the fact is that he's an international, really, really good player and combines really well with Milford on that left-hand side. So with TPJ on the right, with Payne Haas up the middle, the likes of Flegler, Carrigan, these guys completely improving all the time. Both of those guys look absolutely sensational to start the season. I think Thomas Flegler, if he can keep that number 8 spot, I know Joe Offengowi's got another week maybe before he can come back. Matt Lodge, he comes into calculation to become to start the season again. So once he sort of comes, sorry, not to start the season again, but probably 3 or 4 weeks in, coming back from his ACL partial injury. Flegler just looked really, really good, and I think he can be just as effective from the bench playing 30 to 40 minutes. I think this guy's just going to get more and more confident.
No.
And
I don't think there's much doubting the depth in the fucking Broncos forward pack, that's for sure. They've easily got the best forward pack in the competition.
Huge. Yeah, and I mean, we've spoke about it before. If they don't win a comp in the next 4 or 5 years, it'll be an absolute tragedy because, with that forward pack, they've really got that platform to build on. And, you look at probably South and what they've done over the past sort of 6 to 8 years and behind the likes of all the Burgess boys and John Sutton. And, they won a premiership back probably 7 or 8 years ago now. But
six years ago now, yeah.
Yeah, consistently in that top 4. So I think the Broncos can definitely start that dynasty. They just need the halves and the backs to I guess, perform as well. I really don't see the brilliance in their backs like the days of Reynolds and Lockyer and that. But, hopefully the guys will be good enough to get it done.
Adrian's having a go in the chat at you again. He's saying that Hampton will average more than Fergo and Sivo after 5 rounds.
Ha! You're kidding. You're kidding. Oh, Adrian, mate. I tell you what. I need Adrian, mate. You gotta. What are we going to put on this, mate? What are we going to put on this?
Here we go, Adrian.
Because
I'm looking at the chat right now. What are your stakes in your wager, sir?
Come on, mate. You got to bring up something. We're not talking money. We're not about that on this show.
He'll bet the cat food.
Yes, tin of cat food. No, not a tin. What did we say it was?
It was a big spoonful that you nearly threw up as soon as it went near your nose.
See, it wasn't the eggs that got me, was it? It was the cat food, wasn't it?
It was both. You chickened out of both.
Mate, I'm soft. What can I say?
You're soft, like an egg.
I tell you what, we're bringing back cigarette sponsorship for Winfield Blue, I tell you.
Yeah, well, it was what can say? I'm an old man. I nearly just said it. I'll say it. The sport was fucking better than anyway. So.
Yeah. Anyway. Mate, Adrian, what did we say? What's the wager? So after 5 rounds.
Spoonful. So if Hampton is averaging more than Fergo and Sivo after 5 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Big tablespoon of cat food.
Big tablespoon of cat food. Fuck. It means I've got to do it if you don't. All right, it's on.
I don't know how you're going to make him, make Adrian live up to his end.
He will.
He will?
No,
He'll put it on Facebook?
Yeah, he's a Canberra. I don't think he follows Canberra or he I don't know whether he lives in Canberra, but mate, we'll send you round to his house to sort him out if
Yeah.
he's down in
Me
Canberra.
and Brent. You don't want me and Brent fucking showing up at your
Oh,
doorstep.
mate, if Bogan showed up at your door, Jesus Christ, you're calling the cops. 000 gets dialed quicker than anything.
Yeah.
Um,
It was actually quite funny when we done the season opener at my place. We made poor Brent, who's not a small man.
no, and he was the littlest one in the room.
He was a tiny bloke when we were both standing with him.
He's 6'3", best part of 130 kilos, and he was the littlest bloke there. But there you go, mate. What else can we rant about? Who else have we got? Okay, talk to me about this betting saga. So Bellyache, Coach of the Year. There was a bit of inside information.
They're not saying a lot apart from the anti-corruption task force or whatever they are. They've raided a whole heap of houses and premises, got computer gear and stuff, because there was a suspicious splurge with several betting agencies just before the Daily M's on Bellamy winning Coach of the Year. Which I read it and I went, if you're betting on the Daily M's, you're a mug anyway. Because
mate, it's the same thing every year. The Daily M's.
Yeah.
You go over the AFL with the Brownlow. Mate, the amount of times in the past sort of 5 or 10 years that they've said Gary Ablett was going to be a certainty to win the Brownlow, and I'm going to AFL here, but I think he's won it once, maybe twice, and yeah, it's if you're betting on these things, you're definitely a mug punter. That said, I've bet on them a few times myself, so the shoe fits.
I think it's fair enough if you're going to bet on the actual game, but you're betting on an award, I think that whatever. Like, I'm not going to feel bad for people that missed out on their bet on the Daily M. If it was match fixing or some shit like that, then I'd probably give more of a shit.
Exactly right. And at the end of the day, there's no real measurement for this. There's no measurement to say who's the Coach of the Year. Like, Craig Bellamy, he's been the best coach for the past 10 years.
To be fair, Ricky Stewart.
At the end of the day,
Ricky Stewart probably should have won it, but then Bellamy, you'd have to say he was fucking Coach of the Decade. So,
yeah. Anyway.
So that's all that is. I don't know if there's any players involved or anything. I don't think there would be. It's just someone's obviously let slip that this is who's going to win.
Yep.
And someone's taken that and thought, I know what I'll do. I'll split my bet across several different betting agencies. That won't trigger any suspicion.
But mate, from a Supercoach point of view, look, it's good to see the season kicking back off again. There's obviously a bit more activity coming on the Facebook pages, the Fanatics pages, the Supercoach pages. It's good to see a lot of teams out there. It's good to see a lot of teams that I think are a lot worse than mine. I'm pretty happy about that. Look, mate, I think this season...
Famous last words there going into...
Nah, mate, I'm solid. I've missed all these blokes that a lot of people have had, like the Liam Knights and... I think probably...
You're fucking proud of Liam Knight now. He's a fucking Origin cert now. He's going to have a binder.
Black Power. Mate, it's just... I don't know. There's a few blokes that you just look at every year and people sort of come out and they think, oh, this guy's going to have a breakout year and a positional change or a coaching change or something's going to change. And the simple fact is that it's very rare to see that from guys. It's very rare to see that from – you probably see it more in the halves where they have a breakout season purely because – they run the show.
Can I throw one at you that you thought I was dumb for, but I reckon it's going to pay off? And that would be Josh Reynolds at the Tigers.
Nah,
still not rating it.
Nah, mate. Again, is another perfect example. He's a victim of versatility. He's not a 9. He's not a utility player. He's a genuine number 6, and he's never going to get past Benji.
That was also what I was going to raise. How would you rate players like Benji with a shortened season? Do you reckon that it's going to give him a little bit of extra longevity?
Oh, look, no, not necessarily the longevity. I think you cut off 5 rounds, but you got to remember we've cut out the buys as well. So
Yep.
there's a week that Benji doesn't get off. His body's not getting younger. You never lose that skill. You never lose what you already know, and in fact, you probably get better. Back when I sort of, played, Reggie's and park footy and things like that, there was always those guys that, when I was in the early 20s that were 30, 35, and every game there was just that glimpse of brilliance, because they were really, really good footy players. And Benji's the same, mate. When you look at the NRL level, every couple of games he's going to show his brilliance. But the fact is that you can't fight age, and the guys in the game are a little bit quicker. He's just quicker, but he's quicker between the ears.
To be fair,
that's probably what it is.
I've always said that they started Benji Marshall too young.
Mate, look, he was if
they had given him a couple of extra seasons playing lower grades, I think it would have paid him a lot better. He would have been a lot better off later. Like if you look at his body shape now compared to when he started, he was just a boy when they first put him out there.
Yeah, but they all are, mate, and that's just the natural progression of how guys develop. I mean, any guy that comes into footy at 18, 19, 20 years old, look at Brad Fittler. Brad Fittler was one of the youngest debuts ever.
Yeah. He was I think he was 16.
Yeah, but again, one of the best 5'8" that we've ever had, and the ball running of the guy, like Benji's obviously probably a little bit more laterally, but attacking the line, Fittler he just straightened just unbelievably. So I know what you're saying, and if you leave them in those lower grades, it doesn't raise their level. They learn to play brilliant at that level. You really need to be in the NRL and see who plays brilliant at that level, and these guys do.
I don't think it was extra skill development he needed. I think he needed extra physical development, though. I think he needed to pack on a little bit more muscle before they put him out there. But
he went through shoulder surgeries.
It's easy to talk in hindsight. At the time, you've got this gun young kid coming through. Of course, you want to get him out there.
I mean, you got to look at when they won the premiership. I think it was 05, the Tigers. Yeah. They ranked 10th in defence. Because this kid could just attack from anywhere. Robbie Farah combined with him was brilliant. You had blokes on the wings like Pat Richards and Brett Hodgson at the back, and that. It was just a attacking side. It was probably unlike anything we've sort of ever seen. They had no structure, and that's what sort of fooled everyone. So,
Kane Anderson in the chat has just said Inglis was a twig when he made his debut. I want to see video footage. I don't think Greg Inglis has ever been a twig. If you see that bloke in the off season, he looks like fucking Artie Beetson.
Yeah, but you're talking about different positions.
That's what he's going to look like in fucking England too. He's going to bloat. He's going to be like fucking Marty Bella trotting out there for Wigan.
But you look like, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but there's no player that isn't bigger at 28 than they were at 20.
Yeah,
and that's simply the development, the weights training, and everything that they do. So,
how fucking big is Payne Huss going to be?
Oh, mate, wow, yeah. But even him, you look at his physique now, and as a young fella, yes, he's a big boy, but his shoulders are going to fill out, the back's going to fill out. The more and more he trains, the more weights he does. Yeah, he's going to.
He's going to be a fucking beast.
Actually, I saw on Facebook the other day Joshy Papali's debut, and he started in jumper 19 at debut for Canberra. Again, another one, mate. He looked nothing like he does now, but everyone just starts that way, mate. It's just a development thing, I think. Have we got any Supercoach related comments on the page, mate? I can't see anything.
So Adrian got back to you to say he's a Brisbanean as well, so you'll have to go around to his house, mate. He said he'd post the cat food vid on Facebook if he loses that wager.
I tell you what,
we will clip that and put it on the show for the YouTube viewers.
Round 5, that's 3 weeks from now.
Yeah,
Adrian, you've got an invite round to the place, mate. We'll get the 2 seats set up. And you can be the first guest star on the show if Brent Hampton loses. Brent Hampton. If Ben Hampton averages less, we'll get you around on the show, mate. You can do it here live on the show. So there you go. Depending on where you live in Brizzy. It's not that far from one side or the other. But what else we got there, mate? Any comments? Where's Ted? Is Big Ted sleeping?
Big Ted's probably asleep, yeah. It's fucking probably... It's what? It'd be near midnight in fucking New Zealand.
That's all right, mate. You'd think our loyal followers would be up, watching us.
Are you questioning Big Ted's loyalty? I'm sure that...
No, I'm not. No. Can't do that.
I was going to say, Big Ted is easily our number one supporter.
Mate, he's been there since day one, and he is, easily the number one.
There's a lot of people shitting on me for talking up Josh Reynolds. So
yeah.
But I'm not here to be the expert. I'm here to fucking... pick a horse by its colour and hope it goes well.
Yeah, mate, you're just here for the production value, yeah?
Yeah. Thanks for buying that shit camera, mate.
Oh, mate, I'm going to have to improve. Boys, we're going to have to get a webcam. I know I'm sitting out here on my porch. I needed a ciggy after that fucking terrible eating stuff, drinking, whatever. Mate, yeah, look, guys like Josh Reynolds, and let's go to that for a while. Anyone who's jumping on board and anyone who's beginning to play Supercoach, anything like that, there's always these guys you're going to avoid. And that's where I sort of go with that Ben Hampton thing is this is the guy who's basically shown nothing in Supercoach. Yes, he's got the starting spot at the moment. And yes, that means he will average more. But the first 2 rounds, he scored a try. He scored a try, which is 17 points. Take that away from him, and his average goes from 55 down to 38. So,
yeah, but if he steps it up and scores a few more,
yeah, but he's not that kind of player, mate.
Everything's coming up, Bogan.
Anyone who watches footy knows he's not that kind of player. So, my tip is to avoid him. He's definitely
Tyson Doolan. He says he rates Walters over Grant. You can see Walters can handle the pressure.
Mate, it's a little bit of a hard one. I have really, really liked what Walters has looked like.
I think I got him on my bench at the moment.
Yeah, look, he's in my number 7 spot on a reserve. I'm never going to play him in my top 17, but I actually thought this was a kid who'd earned some money. I would probably say I started the 9 reserve spot with Blake Brayley, and I think Walters is the better option. So if it ever turns to me that I've got to sort of make some trades or anything like that, it'll probably be Blake Brayley that goes for me. He just hasn't got enough activity in defence like Walters does. And, yeah, Walters has just looked good. I think the hard part there is obviously the arrival of Grant. We've spoken about Josh Reynolds. It's not so much about any of those guys are better than each other. It's what they're going to take away from each other on the field if you're not on there for the full 80 minutes. I don't think Walters is going to play 80 for too long. If Grant gets the starting spot ahead of him, he probably won't even be on the bench. I was hoping we'd get 1 or 2 price rises out of him. With Harry Grant, look, there's so much unknown about this kid. He has been an absolute superstar up here in Queensland Cup. The fact that he's come through that Melbourne Storm system, we've spoken about before about Melbourne Storm and how they release players.
Yep.
And
they turn to shit most of the time.
They haven't done that with this guy. They've basically said, look, Cam Smith's going to play 1 more season. We're going to blood you. We're going to put you in first grade in another team. And when we get you back, you'll be even more ready to play. So I think Melbourne and Craig Bellamy in his wisdom as coach of the year has done a fantastic job there in that swap with West Tigers. Look, I think he's 185 grand, Harry Grant. I think it's a little bit too early to get him in. You know, you've got 2 weeks at least with him if he does get that starting 9 spot to see what he's like before you do have to bring him in. But yeah, for any Walters owners out there like myself, it could be a wasted spot on your bench because I think there's a little bit of danger there in what can happen.
All right, so So Shane has asked that I answer, or that you answer, maybe not me. You don't want my answer, Tyson. Answer Tyson Doolan's question. So I'm just going to scroll up and find what that was. Okay, so Tyson Doolan, who's apparently new to the BJ on GameDay Twitter, not
Welcome,
Twitter,
buddy.
Facebook.
Yeah, we don't do Twitter.
Yeah, we don't do Twitter. I do Twitter. You get me on Twitter.
Angry
shit
Bogan.
with Big Ted. It's in the description. But anyway, Tyson Doolan asks, who is a must-have starting the season or restarting the season?
Oh, mate, that's a tough one because there's a lot of players that I can't afford to get in my squad. We really haven't seen any price rises. So starting round 1 is the same thing as starting round 3, except your team's already set. So who are the must-haves? A guy I've brought in this week and I've traded in at the expense of David Fafita, obviously Fafita out injured, is Ryan Madison. I've spoken about him in past seasons about how he's very much a ball hog. So when they're playing on that right-hand side of the Eels, I think he's probably a must-have. I've got Lolo. I've brought in Madison. I'm a little bit weaker in the rest of my second rowers because of those two players. But I would say those two guys. You really can't go into a lot of other positions and say there's a must-have at this stage. Obviously, Payne Haas,
I was
probably
going to say,
with his proven history.
Payne Haas he's a monster with a big future.
Yeah, I think we mentioned before, Patrick Carrigan and Thomas Fleckler. I think they're probably two guys that you must have. From a point of view of money-making potential, but also that these guys are probably going to be the next keepers in the game, Whether they develop that into this season, I'm not too sure. But we look at guys like, I don't want to use Vili Kikau as an example as such because, he hasn't been as consistent, but his brutality at times is just awesome. But these guys could be the next big things in Supercoach. In the halves, look, you've either got to have Moses or Cleary, with Cleary out for a couple of weeks due to the TikTok videos. Maybe, hey, mate, there's an idea. Maybe we should do a BJ and GameDay TikTok video.
Oh, you can... I was actually going to make the joke with your shitty camera that you're going to do an OnlyFans. So...
That's not funny.
That's
not funny. Mate,
Joshua King OnlyFans?
Joshua King only no fans. That's what it would be.
Fans?
Guys under this brute and burly exterior. Yeah, no, that's not really even that way. Yeah. Look, I think Moses or Cleary, you've got to have one of the two of them. And at this stage, it is Moses. Bounced back against the Titans, but it was the Titans. But he's definitely on the way up in his career. So he's probably thrown away a few of those taglines as being a contract player from earlier in his career. And hopefully he can just sort of get better and better. Centre wings, look, really can't say there's any must-haves. Actually, one position I do want to talk about. Let's talk about the fullback position because there's probably as much doubt there at the moment as there was at the start of the season how to approach it.
Are you going to stick with? Did you have Pappenhausen, and are you going to stick with him?
Yeah, so that's what I was going to talk about. I'm absolutely sticking with Pappenhausen.
So am I, but don't listen to me.
I think first two rounds he scored 49 and 59, 54 average. Definitely not lighting up the field like he did last season. Probably because Bellies wanted him to adjust to being an 80-minute player at fullback and pacing himself. Mm-hmm. We saw last season that he played, I guess, inconsistent minutes, sometimes from the bench, sometimes, more minutes. There's a few games there where he had less than 10 minutes, So
he's coming on fresh against fucking tired players and just fucking tearing them up.
Yeah, exactly. And again, we speak about sort of the development of players, and that's something that he's got to go through. He's got to realise that you can't tear through guys when you're tired yourself.
Yeah, he's still going to be a superstar though.
Yeah, he will be, mate. If we look at sort of how long it took Teddy and the injuries he went through to become how good he is, this guy has that same kind of ability, that same X factor. I think look, when it comes to Pappenhausen, you're probably going to have to ride that 55 average, which won't see any price rises, but there's going to be a game or two where he does break out, and it'll be in that first 6 weeks. What I am hoping is that sees a price rise, and that's going to get me to someone like Teddy or Turbo. That's probably the hardest part at this time of the season, is justifying having a $780,000 Teddy in there, or I think it's $720,000 Turbo. Again, which of those two guys? You want both of those guys at the end of the season. It's as simple as that. Ponga, yes, he can do similar things, but Ponga, as it seems, he doesn't have that 150 point game in him like Teddy and Turbo do.
I was going to ask about Ponga, because obviously the ability's there. Is there a fucking attitude adjustment that's required for Ponga at the moment, or?
Yeah, I think it might be a little bit of he's been handed everything.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Has he got high off the smell of his own farts?
Yeah. Look, he's been raved about for so long, back when he was up at the Cowboys, and Teddy and Turbo almost didn't quite have that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The hype around them was never as much as it has been around Ponga. You know, Ponga's been labelled as the next massive thing, and then he's gone to the Knights on $1 million a year, and he's going to be the Knights, a next premiership winner and stuff like that. And it may just have been a little bit too much pressure for the kid. Don't get me wrong, from a Supercoach point of view, he's going to be brilliant. He's going to average, your sort of 75 or 80. He will be that third fullback. Mm-hmm. I've got to say that, and no disrespect to RTS in Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, but
he's too probably hard. RTS is too hard to gauge.
Oh, look, it's the Warriors that are too hard to gauge. I mean, RTS is the best defensive fullback in the comp by far. He's just...
The Warriors are fucked without their key player now.
Yeah.
Leeson Armour out. That's it. You can count the Warriors out.
I was probably more thinking about Sean Johnson being at the Sharks now, but anyway. Yeah. Mate, yeah, look, Ponga, for me, I know a lot of people have got him because he's 630,000 instead of reaching out for the 700 or the 780 for Teddy and Turbo. He's got one game to think about what he's got to do. He is obviously out suspended at the moment for shoulder charge, so we'll see. A lot of people are holding on to him, and I think that's the right play. I think even though trades are a little bit more available this season, I don't think you need to get rid of Ponga if you've got him. But that said, if you can find a way to maybe move someone else and bring in Turbo or Teddy, now that there's no buys, now that there's no origin, these guys, you just need to get them in your team as quick as possible, because as soon as they blow up, the people who have those guys over anyone else are going to get a huge jump on the competition. There will come a time in the next 4 to 6 weeks where Teddy or Turbo throw in 140, 150, and it's going to hurt some people who don't have them.
Kane Anderson just let me know that he's sent a couple of English pics from his early days to the BJ Messenger. Yep. I'm not on Facebook, Kane, because I am not the male equivalent of a Karen. So Joshy will repost those up on the Facebook page, I guess.
Yeah, mate, we'll chuck them up there on the Facebook page. Now the season's kicking off again, we'll get this banter going a little bit further, and we'll get it up there.
Now, just let me try and find. I'm sure there was more questions further up in the chat. Not ignoring you too much, chat.
Without Big Ted, mate, it just seems a little bit quiet, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Who are your two trades, Josh? And that's from Adrian who's asking that.
Adrian, two trades. I've got... I mentioned before, David Fafita is jumping to Ryan Madison. And I'm also getting rid of, I guess, a failed prediction of mine. And that was Caleb Aikens at the Panthers. He's getting kicked out for Scott Drinkwater. I think the Drinkwater thing is a really good one at the Cowboys. I think what we saw in form there in the first 2 weeks and what we've seen in off-season and previous seasons, he will hold down that number 6 spot ahead of Jake Clifford and anyone else who comes along. So, Caleb Aiken's out. He hasn't just shown enough at Penrith. Obviously, with the break in the season, Dylan Edwards should come back. So there's nothing to be made there. There's nothing to be lost either. And I'm going to get in Scott Drinkwater. Look, the only other, and they're the 2 out of 5. The only other trade I considered was probably how to get Tony Staggs in, but it just feels a little bit sheepish. It feels like following the crowd, and considering the one that I've got, I'm just going to gamble. The biggest thing for me about Staggs and him being the number 1 player in the game at the moment with regards to Supercoach average is the money that he's going to make, and that he looks really, really good. We talk about, guys who are sort of going to make a little bit of money or whatever, but Staggs very much, it might not be the money that he makes that becomes appealing to everyone, but it might be that he actually becomes a keeper. On that right-hand side in the centres, he looks really, really good. A couple of seasons ago, I looked at Ewan Aiken when he started to sort of come on board and be in the talks for a New South Wales spot. Such a small bloke in the centre wings. You speak about Greg Inglis and his progression and how he's sort of, bulked up over the years and that. And what I think Staggs is, he's probably more of that Reynolds kind of style. Not as much speed, I don't think, but that upper body strength is just awesome. Very, very much a danger in regards to Supercoach.
Well, it's interesting.
A huge gamble for him to not take him.
So it's interesting you should say that because Maker, our superstar from the BJ Game Day group last year.
Yeah, finished top of the group last year. Well done, Maker.
Yeah, he made the statement: Staggs for the cash grab, Masters for consistency.
Oh, that's a tough one. Obviously, SR Masters, we haven't spoken about him yet. Again, there is a little bit of talk about people bringing him in. And if we look at centre wingers and who's, I guess, a keeper for this season,
yeah,
we've spoken about Sevo and Ferguson at Parramatta. They're probably the 2 guys that I'd replace. So Sevo and Ferguson, I could drop those guys, go to Staggs and Masters and make, I think, about 120K and not lose any points because Masters look good. Look, I had Masters for a lot of last season at the West Tigers, and we spoke about the Madison effect and how he affects his centres. I don't really think he has that much of an effect on the wingers because they still play out the back a lot. And I'm talking about how much they get the ball. Masters was absolutely killed last year by Madison. He never got the ball. He lost his confidence in his game. His kicking duties got taken away. Now, he's not going to have that kicking duties at the Cowboys. But I think what we will see is him really start to revive his career and how we sort of seen him break out into the game. A lot of offloads, a lot of line breaks, a lot of tackle busts, plenty of tries, plenty of setups. He is, without having amazing speed, he is a very, very nice prospect at the centres there for the Cowboys. So when you've got a bloke like Kyle Felt outside you on the right-hand side and how he finishes off, it could become a very formidable pairing. Throw Michael Morgan inside that, throw how Valentine home sweeps. Again, we haven't spoken about him yet. Coming back from the NRL, Val could have an absolute huge season. So really exciting times, I think, for the Cowboys. You got Tamalolo up there. The forward pack is becoming younger again. You've got blokes like Shane Wright in there and a few others coming on board. So, yeah, some good things for the Cowboys.
Shane Foote has asked me a couple of times, how long till Sharks get a win?
I haven't seen the draw yet. I can't remember who we play.
All right, so that answers your question, Shane. A long time.
Shana, who we got? I think we got Tigers. I think we got West Tigers.
That'd be a good game, actually.
I will say the matches between Cronulla and West Tigers over the years have sort of been blowouts either way. So I think at this stage and what I saw in the first couple of rounds, West Tigers are probably more likely to do that to us than we are to them at this stage. Luke Brooks will be back. He'll be fresh. Benji, as you say, he's coming fresh, but, as quick between the ears as ever.
What about Billy Magoulias, though?
Billy, mate. Billy.
I love his name. He's got the best fucking name in the competition.
I
reckon Magoulias are going to have a breakout season. Magoulias are going to be in everyone's face this year. And when Magoulias do come out, everyone's going to be shocked.
Yeah. You put your goalies away, mate. Look, Magoulias, I said it in the preseason that he looks slow. He looked like he's a speed behind what you need for the NRL. In every sport I've ever played and I've ever watched, to me, speed is the one thing that you can't coach. You look at blokes like Addo Carr, guys like this, your body can only go so fast as it trains it. And the fact that he's been in, New South Wales Cup for a couple of seasons now, I think the skill level's there.
It feels like he's been in New South Wales Cup for fucking ever.
Yeah, it is. It's been a few years now. I think he would have broken into the NRL before this if he was good enough. I think he's the perfect player for Cronulla on the bench. I think he's a great bench player in the fact that, Wade Graham, what he offers in the second row, as a kicking option, he can fill that position. If Sean Johnson gets injured, he can play 6 and he can come onto that. Obviously, I think Wade Graham would probably go there and Magoulias would come onto the second row, but he'll probably be Cronulla's Mr. Fix-It.
Look,
Shane
Foote, I don't know whose side you on, Shane. You seem to be backing Josh half the time and then having a go the next.
He reckons you don't have to agree all the time.
He reckons that Jack Williams going to get dropped for Magoulias.
Yeah, he's probably. I think someone actually asked me. I think it might have been Marky Hindle. Asked me on Facebook today who are the must-haves, which we've answered already. But he also asked me who were the most disappointing so far this season, and I don't want to go to the superstars who have been disappointing because most people know them, but I think probably from your fringe players, Jack Williams has been the disappointing one. I had him in my season. I had him in my team to start the season, and I took him out after round 1 because I didn't like what I saw, and he continued to sort of play poorly. This guy's going to be good. Don't get me wrong. He may get dropped to begin with. He's got more potential in him than Billy Magoulias does. Jack Williams is quicker. He's got more footy about him. He's a tough guy. He's tough in defence. There's a lot of upside there. He's just got to deal with being an NRL player full time now. A lot of drop ball in the first 2 rounds, a lot of mistakes, a few penalties. He's one that is probably a next year proposition. Yep. I've got to hope that the rest of the season he actually performs poorly, so that we can get him at a good price next year. Because I think what we've seen in an off-season the last 6 to 8 weeks, I hope that hasn't fixed him. Because I hope he gets through this season in and out of the team, and then he can use the off-season of 2020 to move into 2021 as a better player. We speak about the likes of Carrigan and Flegler, how they're going to develop this season. I'm hoping Williams will do that next year.
Okay. Tyson Doolan again. He's just asked a prediction to win the comp. He's interested to hear. Oh, it's a big call now, Josh.
Yeah, it's hard.
Here's my opinion, and take it or leave it, because you can easily leave my opinions. I think the Storm. I was
just going to say the same thing, mate.
I think the system I think Bellamy as the coach, I think that he's just calm enough and cool-headed enough to weather all these distractions that the season's had and get his team through without these disruptions having an effect as largely as it does for
Yeah,
other teams. And plus, the Storm always have the roster to be up there.
I completely agree. I couldn't have said it better myself, mate. I think they're going to be the ones most unaffected by all of this. I think the way he's got that system going over the last 10 years just keeps continuing. At the Roosters, the loss of Cooper Cronk can't be underestimated. Here's a guy who's just won, 2 premierships in a row for the team. Luke Keary's put in the position to be him, and he's going to go great. I've got Luke Keary in my team, and I've got no doubt that he's going to have a great season, but it's not going to be good enough to get the Roosters another premiership. Parramatta are probably the X factor. I do love their team all across the park, but there's something that they're just not good enough.
Were we
I don't know what it is.
When I was talking about Parramatta, I think we were. If on paper, I think Parramatta have got the best team in the competition this year.
I'd agree. I would agree. Throughout the forwards, I love their forwards. I love their impact off the bench. Blokes like Penny Terapo and guys like that. Their impact off the bench is awesome. There's another guy who actually doesn't get too much game time in Ray Stone. Again, probably not too much Supercoach related, but I really like what this guy does. Reid Marnie in the 9 is an awesome up-and-coming player. He will be... Look, he's probably not good enough, but as Cam Smith sort of leaves the game and that sort of evolution changed with the Queensland team, he'll find himself in there somewhere. I think they are the best team on paper, but I just don't think the premiership will be there this season. The Broncos have got the forward pack, but I don't think they've got the back line. I am a big fan of Brodie Croft, and I'd like to see what he can do. The fact that he got injured there in the second game, it's nice that he's had time to sort of get away from that and heal, and hopefully he comes back and can avoid any further injuries. I think South are just going to go downhill. I don't like them at all.
No.
Cronulla I don't really like at all. I think we're going to have a backward season as well. Look, Penrith.
Yeah, Shane Foote has picked the Panthers.
Yeah,
and
Shano's a Panthers fan. Look, there's just too many distractions at the Panthers. There's all the shit that they've gone through with Tyrone May.
Last year should have been their fucking year as well, but they fucking weren't hungry. I
mean, the one we really haven't spoken about yet is probably Canberra. The Raiders. Runners up last year.
Adrian. I keep calling you Gnomes. Adrian, is it Gomez, Adrian? Yes or no? Or Gomes? Anyway, yeah. Adrian G.
Yeah. He's a big Raiders fan.
Yeah, and I hope they'll be up there. Obviously, Canberra's a much better city to live in when the Raiders are playing good football.
Yeah.
Because Canberrans are very fickle with their sports teams. So no one gives no one gives a fuck about football if the Raiders and the Brumbies are playing shit. If
the Raiders and Brumbies are playing shit, they get Titans crowds, so they get 5,000 or 6,000. As soon as you start playing good, you get a full crowd, 20,000, even in the cold.
So as I said, it's a much better city to live in when the Raiders are playing well. I think I'd
be going.
Yeah.
Who's going to win the comp? I'd say Melbourne. I'd say Melbourne beat Canberra in the grand final, and I'd say Parramatta and Brisbane get beat in the semis by them to get into the grand final.
Okay.
So there you go. There's my top 4.
There's a multi for anyone out there who wants to have a go.
Yeah. But mate, have we got anything else to go on? I'm about to run out of battery. So
there's probably a few, but I'm sure they can catch you on the Facebook.
Yeah.
If that's a thing.
The Facebook. Love it.
They can get you there.
All right.
Yep.
Well, mate, I reckon we run the outro, guys. Anyone who wants to jump on, as Bogan says, jump on Facebook, send me a direct message, jump on the Facebook page, leave as many comments as you like on the YouTube channel as well. We will jump on there as the season kicks off again.
Team List Tuesday next week, so we're back to a regular show.
Team list Tuesday, yeah. So, guys, we've had the last two.
Sleepless nights doing graphics and shit like that.
Do you want to go Tuesday or Wednesday night, mate?
We'll do Tuesday.
Tuesday? All right.
So
next week,
we'll check
Tuesday night show.
Yeah, Tuesday night
mate,
show.
He'll do it. He'll be fine.
That gives people, a couple of days to watch the show and then make their trades before the Thursday.
Yeah, based on our expert opinion.
Oh, of course.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thanks very much for joining in. We'll catch you all next week. Hey, guys. Joshy here. Thanks very much for joining us for another episode of BJ on Game Day. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell on YouTube for all your notifications. If you do want to follow us on Facebook, you can find us there at BJ on Game Day, and on Twitter, we're at BJ on Game Day as well. So, guys, we'd really like your support with that. Follow us so we can know you guys are enjoying the content. Thanks very much.